I remember the exact moment her words broke the world I thought we were building. We were parked outside the movie theater in her aging Honda Civic, the engine making soft ticking sounds as it cooled from our short drive. The air between us was thick with silence, not the comfortable kind we used to share, but a strained, brittle quiet that had become all too familiar. I'd asked her what was wrong for the third time that week, and still, she hadn't answered. Then finally, without meeting my eyes, she exhaled a shaky breath and said, "Maybe we should take a break." Those words landed in my chest like a lead weight. For a moment, I just sat there staring at her, trying to make sense of what she'd said. We'd been together for 3 years, nearly inseparable since college, the kind of couple our friends teased about being, made for each other. But lately, something had shifted. I'd noticed it in the way her text replies got shorter, how often plans were suddenly canceled, and the vacant way her eyes wandered past me like I wasn't even there. "How long?" I managed to ask, my throat tight. She shrugged, finally looking at me, though her gaze wavered. "A few weeks, maybe a month. I just need time." I nodded slowly, forcing a calm I didn't feel.
Okay.
"If that's what you need." I drove home in a daze that night, the seat beside me colder than usual. The first week that followed was brutal. I called in sick twice, barely ate anything that wasn't pizza or instant noodles, and spent more time scrolling through old photos than I care to admit. I'd start typing out messages to her only to delete them moments later. My friends tried to help, invited me out, tried to distract me, but I wasn't ready. Part of me still clung to hope. I kept telling myself that any day now, she'd call and tell me she'd changed her mind. But days passed, then weeks, and eventually something inside me began to shift. The second week came and went, and while the ache in my chest hadn't disappeared, it began to dull around the edges. I started sleeping through the night again. I signed up for a gym membership I'd been procrastinating on, dusted off the old guitar that had sat untouched since we'd moved in together, and even enrolled in a photography class, something I'd always wanted to do, but never made time for. By the end of the third month, I hardly recognized the man I used to be. I'd lost weight, not from stress anymore, but from running trails and lifting weights. I was learning to cook real meals, not just reheated leftovers. I was even going out again, cautiously dipping my toe back into dating. Casual conversations over coffee, laughter that didn't feel forced, dinners without awkward silences. I'd started smiling again, genuinely, not just to make someone else feel okay. Then one afternoon, I ran into Jessica, one of Sarah's closest friends, at a coffee shop near my apartment. "Oh my God, Mike, you look amazing," she said, wide-eyed. "I mean, I heard from Sarah that you were really struggling." I raised an eyebrow. "Struggling?" "She told me you were taking the breakup really hard." "Breakup?" I echoed. "She said it was just a break." Jessica froze. Her eyes darted, her smile faltering.
Oh.
I thought. I didn't mean to."
She didn't need to say it.
Her reaction said everything. Sarah had never intended to come back. The break was just a soft way to let me go without having to deal with the aftermath. Surprisingly, I didn't feel the wave of anger I expected. What I felt was clarity. Quiet relief. Her silence, her absence, they had gifted me something I hadn't realized I needed. Freedom. Closure, without confrontation. Space to rediscover who I was when I wasn't loving someone who was slowly pulling away. It was around that time that Sarah started texting again. At first, it was harmless, a funny meme she thought I'd like, a photo of her dog curled up in that ridiculous sweater I bought him. I replied briefly, politely. Then came more intentional messages. "Saw your waterfall hike on Instagram. That place looked incredible. I always wanted to go there." Later, passed by that little Italian place we used to love. "Made me think of you." I saw it for what it was, her way of reaching back into something she realized she'd lost. But the man she was reaching for didn't exist anymore. The version of me who would have dropped everything to make it work was long gone. He'd been replaced by someone stronger, someone who no longer needed to be in a relationship just to avoid feeling alone. For months after our so-called break, she called. I was at an art gallery of all places, something I'd never have done back then, and I let the first call go to voicemail. Then she called again. Hey, I answered, stepping outside. Her voice was shaky. Mike, I've been thinking a lot this break. I made a mistake. I miss you. I miss us. I want to try again. I want to fix this. 6 months earlier, I wouldn't have let her finish that sentence before saying yes. But I wasn't that man anymore. I looked up at the stars, more brilliant than I'd noticed in years, and took a breath. I don't, I said softly. There was silence. Then finally a whisper. What do you mean? I mean, I'm happy, Sarah. For the first time in a very long time, I'm really happy. And I can't go back to feeling the way I used to feel with you. I'm not angry. I'm just done. She tried to convince me. Talked about therapy, about trying again, about rebuilding. But I stopped her gently. It's not that I think we couldn't fix things, I said. It's that I don't want to. That time apart? It gave me the chance to see how far I'd let myself drift from the person I want to be. And I'm not willing to lose him again. Over the next few weeks, her messages became more frequent, more emotional. Some of our mutual friends reached out too, a few saying she was devastated, others suggesting I was being too cold, that I should at least give her another chance. But I'd learned an important truth. Sometimes, love doesn't die in a dramatic moment. Sometimes it withers slowly, quietly, until one day you wake up and realize you've been mourning it for far longer than you knew. The last time I saw her was 7 months after she asked for the break. It was raining, a soft, steady drizzle. She showed up unannounced at my door, mascara streaked, holding a letter in trembling hands. Please, she said, barely above a whisper. Just read this. Just give us one more chance. I looked at her, really looked at her, and felt a strange, gentle sadness. Not anger. Not bitterness. Just the ache of knowing something that once meant everything had simply run its course. Sarah, I said, I truly hope you find what you're looking for. But it's not going to be with me. She stood there for a moment, eyes wide and wet, before nodding. She turned and walked away without another word. A year later, I heard she was dating someone new, a guy from her yoga class who made her laugh the way she used to laugh with me in the beginning. And I was genuinely happy for her. I meant it. As for me, I kept living the life I built during that break, a life filled with purpose, peace, and a sense of self I never knew I'd lost. I learned that sometimes the most loving thing you can do for someone is to let them go, even when they come back asking to be let in again. Especially then.